Hello, lovely souls. Welcome to the Awakening to Your Soul Self podcast. I'm Christina Lorero, certified angel messenger and angel Reiki master teacher. My spiritual journey began in the spring of 2022 when my spirit team nudged me to listen to the amazing Angels and Awakening podcast. Since then, I've been learning to use my spiritual gifts and growing increasingly curious about spirituality and various healing modalities. I'm so excited for you to join me on this special journey as we dive into spirituality, healing, while exchanging our wisdom and profound insights with other remarkable healers. So grab a cup of coffee or tea, get cozy, and let's embark on the spiritual journey together. Hello, lovely souls. Welcome back to the Awakening to Your Soul Self podcast. I'm so excited for this episode. I have my good friend, Justina Sharp, on here. She's also an angel Reiki master, as well as an energy healer. We met in the Angel Reiki program through Julie Jancius's membership, as well as her school. Welcome.
Hello, how are you? Thank you for having me. I'm
I'm
so
so good.
excited.
I'm
Good,
s-
good.
I'm so excited. So I'd love for you to introduce yourself. So who are you and what do you do? I know you're a healer on Julie's team, so we'll go with that.
My name is Justina, and I am an energy healer. I've been doing different forms of Reiki for about 20 years now. And then I was introduced into Julie's Angel Reiki school. She's out of Chicago, and it's amazing. I love energy healing. My undercover job, as I say, is a nurse. Uh, so I um I love to do energy healing. You're just able to help so many people move some of that energy that gets stuck. Sometimes we seem to hold on to certain emotions that are often connected to an energy and have trouble releasing them, or sometimes we're not even aware they're there. So currently, I am one of the healers on her team, which is very exciting,
That's
and
amazing.
offer sessions there. So we do sessions over Zoom. They're anywhere from like an hour to an hour and a half, just kind of depends on the needs of the individual. It's it could be as little as 45 minutes if everything works perfectly. Sometimes technology, you know how that can be sometimes.
Yep.
But the angels are always ready. So I invite my spirit team and I invite the client's spirit team to be with us in the session. And they work together amazing. And I'm just the channel and I just let them flow through. So that's a little bit about me.
That's awesome. I love that your other job is a nurse. Like, do you ever intertwine the two?
So I think the basis of nursing, like I love anatomy and physiology, so I feel like that really does assist me so much when I'm doing sessions because um I can the angels kind of show me, like, say someone has something going on in their solar plexus, their sacral chakra, those
Yeah.
areas, and I can kind of see into there that, they may have inflammation, they may have Crohn's disease or
Mm.
ulcerative colitis or something like that. And I, along with the angels, can kind of go in there and assist healing and provide energy um, and help with that. So yeah, the anatomy piece is very helpful with that.
That's so cool. So I always like to ask my guests a brief story of their spiritual awakening because everybody's spiritual awakening is different.
Yes. So the angels are coming in, they're like tingling my head. That's how they whew, come in. Um, I'm like, okay, hello. So um when I was about 10 years old, my grandfather and I were really close. He was like my best friend. Grandparents are the absolute best. And if you have them on this earth with you right now, hug them till their head falls off. I mean, like, just spend so much time with them because they are one of the greatest gifts. And anyway, so we were pals, we were best friends, and I stayed with my grandparents quite often. Well, there was one particular night, I was staying at my grandma and grandpa's, and that night I had a dream that my grandfather was standing at the foot of my bed, and I was really confused by it because my grandfather had had multiple strokes, and he wasn't able to stand unless he was holding on to things. He was paralyzed from the waist down.
Mm.
And but he was standing there and he had a suit on, and he was holding a baby boy, and I was just really perplexed. You know, here I am 10 years old, grandpa standing at the foot of my bed, and it felt so much more real than a dream. Like I could physically touch him. And he had this nickname for me, which is so embarrassing to even say now, but he would call me Wendy, like wind would go through my ears. Not Wendy, a
Oh.
name, but ha ha ha. Anyway, he's lucky I love him. But so, but he, well, while he was standing there, he said, Wendy, I just want you to know that no matter what happens, I love you and everything is going to be okay.
Oof,
And
that's deep.
I was just like, what is, and why do you have a baby? But whatever. So I was just like, of course everything's going to be okay. You know, I love you. Like,
Hmm.
anyway, so the next morning I get up and I'm a little shaken because I'm like, did that really happen? Am I crazy? You know, when I got up, my grandfather was outside. He was mowing grass on a riding lawnmower because he could shift himself and like pivot, you know. So he got on
Oh,
the riding
okay.
lawnmower and he's mowing grass. And I was getting ready to go with grandma to get her hair fixed. She got her hair fixed every Saturday. And I had run out to her car for her for something. And I saw him and he had gotten himself down on the ground and he was looking underneath the lawnmower, checked on. What's going on? Anyway, he had gotten off, gotten back on like 3 different times. Something was acting up with it. Well, the third time that he got off, he was on all fours and he instantly went purple in his face. Um, and so I'm 10 years old. I didn't totally understand what was going on, but I knew it
Right.
wasn't good. And so I ran in the house, told grandma was up there and she was doing CPR the best she could. And I'm calling everyone on grandma's phone list that was right by her phone. And anyway, long story short, he goes to the hospital and he's passed away. Um, and I was so traumatized by this because I was brought up Catholic. This
Right.
is my best friend. This is my dream that I just had. Oh my gosh, did I kill my grandpa? Like,
Yeah.
I swore I killed my grandpa. And how could I do that to my best friend? And like, how could I do that to myself? So for a year, I kept this to
Hmm.
myself and I was just sick about it. Um, I sat down with my grandma one day and I said, okay, I've got to talk to you. Like, I've got to talk to you. And I'll come back around to the suit and the
Yeah.
baby here shortly. And I said, you know, you're probably going to have to call the police. I'm pretty sure I killed grandpa. Like, um, because this is what happened. So I tell her the dream, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I wish you would have told me that. You
Hmm.
didn't do that. You didn't do that, you know?" And I was like, "I didn't? Oh my god. Thank God." And anyway, she said your great grandmother was Cherokee Indian and she would often have visions or premonitions about things. And you really remind me a lot of her.
Wow.
And And I none of that really registered all the way at 10, you know, like, a couple
Yeah.
years go by, um, and then I start to, like, piece pieces together, and I find out that, you know, the baby boy, my aunt, which would have been grandpa's daughter, was pregnant at the time, but nobody had known yet, and she ended up having a baby boy. And
Oh, wow.
I fully believe that was the baby boy he was holding, and the suit he had on. And I remember in the suit, there was a little corner of a white paper or something it looked like in his pocket. At his funeral, we put our school pictures in his pocket. And I remember when I walked away from the casket, the little corner was sticking out of his pocket. And I was like, how can that even be? And ever since then, it just kind of started happening. I just get these feelings, or I had a dream my grandma's brakes went out in her car. Luckily, I was able to tell her about it. And I was like, you have to just pull over to the side. I was like 15 or something. And it happened. They ended up going out. And she's like, but Justina, I knew what to do because you told me that's probably what's going to happen. Um, and then I just started picking up on, I would have patients once I became a nurse. I got attuned to Usui Reiki to start with. And then it just went crazy after that. Sorry, I think I rambled for a while, but
That's okay. I mean, that's an amazing story. I mean, I always, say like I found my gifts at the time I needed to because I don't think at that age I would have been able to comprehend. Like now my spirit team will be like, your imaginary friends, that was actually us. Things like that, but nothing like premonitions or anything.
it was a lot. It was tricky. In my teen years, I'd wake up in the middle of the night and like sit straight up and be like, you have to call Marion, you have to call Sarah, you have to, and I'd be like, why? What is happening? And every time I'd follow through with it, it was something terrible was happening, and I
Wow.
was trying to let them know. So I didn't know what was happening during I'm like, I guess I'm probably just crazy. And then the further I got in nursing school, I was like, okay, I'm legit crazy because they talk about hallucinating, you know?
Yeah.
So I've got to be like way out there. But luckily, along the way, I've met friends that have been mediums and psychics and angel intuitives, and they're so gracious to be like, "You're not crazy." Just to, so, yeah.
So how did you find Julie?
Okay, so another crazy story. So, I think originally I had just heard about podcasts. I'm a little late to the game with technical stuff, I feel like.
Mhm.
And I was like, podcast, would I ever I don't even understand that, but okay. But I did listen to Blog Talk Radio a while back, and I think it's kind of similar. But anyway, so I just felt really drawn to angels. And also, I had felt them starting to come in anyway more and more in my sessions or while I was working as a nurse, and I did EMS too for a little while and worked on an ambulance. And I'm like, there's just certain things you just can't explain. You and your partner are
Yeah.
working on someone, you both look up at the corner at the same time, like, I don't know. But anyway, so I was just searching angels and angels and angels, and I came across her podcast, and I had been listening for a while. And this angel story actually is on her YouTube as well,
Oh,
how
is
this
it?
came about. So then my father had gotten sick, um, and I was his power of attorney and all of that for healthcare and everything else. And so I was driving quite a bit. He lived 3 or 4 hours away from me. And he was in a hospital that he had been transferred to. There was a different direction, but also like 3 hours away. So I was like, okay, I have time to listen to podcasts now because
Mhm.
never before do I. I've got a busy
Right.
family life and a busy work life. And um, so I was listening to them. And one of the days, this went on for like 2 or 3 months. And one of the days that I was driving up to see him at the hospital, I had the worst migraine. And I hadn't had a terrible migraine in like a year. So I was like, I got to find somebody. Like, there's got to be a chiropractor, a
Mhm.
massage therapist, something within my 3 hour drive. So I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm pulling over. I'm like looking up everything. And every place is like, of course, we don't have any openings today, you know?
Yeah.
Well, so I get back on the road and I'm like, fine, just forget it. You're just gonna have to figure it out. I've already taken my Tylenol and ibuprofen. It hurts so bad.
Mm.
And I hear my angels say, why didn't you look up Reiki? And I was
Oh.
like, what? Oh gosh, they're here now. Okay. I was like, what? See, I do have this problem with arguing with them. I argue less now, but I do argue with them. And Archangel Michael, especially, is always like, okay, let me know when you're done with your little arguing and we'll go on. But I'm like, why would I Google Reiki? Like, surely I'm not going to find anything. I don't think this area has any. I'm just going back and forth. And he's like, that's fine. If you would like to have your headache, proceed. And I'm like, oh, well, that's rude. But I'm like, okay, fine. I'll just pull over and look it up. So I do. Well, there's one like 5 miles from the hospital, a place that does this. And I'm like, no way. Well,
Mm.
surely they're not going to have an appointment. I mean, it's today.
Right.
And I was like, but just to make you happy, Archangel Michael, I'm going to call. And they're so they're so kind because I know so often they're just like, oh, uh-huh. Um, so I make the call and nobody answers at first, I think. And I was like, okay, I'm sure they're busy. They don't. But like immediately when I hang up, I get a call back and I'm like, what do I
Wow.
do now? You know? And this really kind lady's on the phone and she says, hi, I think I missed your call. I picked up on the last ring um and I was like, okay, well, I know this is totally crazy, but like I have a pounding headache. I'm just wondering if you have, and she had multiple services at her building. Like there's like myofascial release, massage, all these things. I'm like, do you have anything? Like, I don't even care what it is at this point. Like anything that could help my headache. And she says, actually, I have a Reiki session that just opened up at 3 o'clock. And I'm like,
Oh.
you've got to be kidding me. And that was like 2 hours from right now. Okay. So I had just got to the hospital and I'm like, this is unreal. You really have an opening that just came about, you know? So I go to the thing, I get there, we're talking. It turns out like my grandpa, who was my best friend, comes in while we're talking. Her grandpa that's passed on comes in while we're talking. We can both like pick up on both of them and we're like describing them. And then she had a picture of hers and I had a picture of my, you know, and I'm like, this is so bizarre. And then all of a sudden we both like stop talking for a minute and I think we're just trying to absorb everything. But
Yeah.
we both look at the clock and it says 3:33 an angel
Ooh.
number, you know, and I'm like, what is happening right now? And my headache's already starting to let up some without
Mm.
anything technically happening, and I'm like, wow. So she's like, okay, if you can just sit in this really comfy chair, and I'm going to start with like a little meditation. She turns on the meditation.
Yeah.
It's Julie.
Oh.
It's Julie's meditation,
Oh my
the
gosh.
one that I use. And I'm like, um, that that's Julie. Like wait, that's Julie Jancius from Chicago. Like, how I know that's her, and she's like, yeah, that's my mentor. I just finished with like the year-long Angel Reiki school. And I'm like, now, a part I forgot to mention is for the 6 months prior to this time, I'm at her office. I had been going back and forth in my head about taking it.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And instantly, when she said that, it was like, well, now you know, don't you? And I'm like, I guess I do. So, yeah, I mean, how bizarre is that? And then I end up signing up for her class um, and for the angel membership. And one of the first angel memberships I logged into, I was sitting at my dad's hospital bed.
Oh, wow.
And he was not doing well. I had all my gown and mask on, and um, my very first time meeting all of those people on a Zoom, and I just immediately burst into tears because I could feel the love
Mm,
coming through all of them. Oh, I'm gonna get choked up now. And I needed that so bad,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's amazing how the angels kind of work their magic.
It's crazy. It's just, it's unreal.
Yeah.
Wait.
My story is kind of similar where I'll never forget. It was April 2020, no, 2021, and I was cleaning my room and I usually play background music and I was like, inside was like, no, put on a podcast. I'm like, no, real, you sure? Okay. And I was like, all right, I'll roll with it. And I typed in angels and Teresa Caputo's came up first. And I was like, I listen to her all the time. You know, she's Long Island medium. And
Mm-hmm.
then Angels and Awakening by Julie Jancius was next. And I was hooked. And the angels, at that point, I didn't know I had any gifts or intuition or anything. And I was like, whoa. Because months prior, I kept coming home and being like, looking up the sky and being like, what is my purpose here? What is my purpose here? Like, I
You were,
love what I do. Like,
you were,
I love what I do in the school. Uh, I was like, something doesn't feel fulfilling anymore. And then
mm-hmm,
I found her podcast, and then I was listening to like a really old episode, and she offered like a link with like a free like 7-day trial or something. So and I'll never forget, it was Memorial Day weekend of 2021. I kept hearing it over and over and over again. Try the membership, try the membership. I was like, you know what? I'm
wow.
gonna do it. Because I normally don't do things for myself.
Yeah, right.
And
Amen. Yeah.
and they were like, just do it. And that was it. It was history after that. And then
Wow.
what was it, 2023? I kept hearing them again. Do the Angel Reiki School, do the Angel Reiki School, do the Angel Reiki School. And no joke, 3 weeks prior, I was telling my mom, like, I want to do it, but I don't know. And then they're like, you're gonna find the right time. And then when I start hearing them over and over and over again, I was like, okay, okay, I'll do it.
They are persistent.
Oh, they're very persistent with me. I am hard to follow the breadcrumbs.
Oh, girl. I know. I always say, like, I probably need to take a course in like private investigator too, because some of the wild goose chases I feel like they bring me to, they'll show me this symbol, another one, and another, and I'm like,
Yeah,
what is going on? You know, like, yeah. But every time I follow, I'm never disappointed.
yeah, I know.
Crazy.
It's
Wow.
so crazy.
And now look at you. Like, I met you in the Angel Reiki school
I
too,
know.
and you're doing amazing. And you do your sessions now, and you
Yeah.
have a podcast. And I mean, it's just been, it opens up a whole new world, doesn't it? It's just, oh,
Yeah. And the timing is always right.
right.
It's always right. Like you say, why? You know, when I was first starting out, I was like, why didn't I have this a year ago? And then they're like, well, 2020 was a very hard year and part of 2021. So I found it in 2022. Yeah. So, that was COVID.
Right.
So they're like, you couldn't do it then.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, now you can do it.
I love it.
Yeah. So are you feeling any angels that you want to talk about for the August Archangel podcast episode?
Yes. Yeah, they're like, we're here.
We're here. I love when they do that. They're like, you're here. We're here.
I
Like,
know. Um, wow, gosh, they're all so great. Like, sorry, I'm getting lost in just like cuddling with them. But anyway, bring it back to focus. So I work with almost every session. I have Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael.
Yeah.
Um, and Archangel Raphael, especially, has probably been with me like 900 years, I feel like, because of the healing aspect, and
Yeah.
working with the body and all of the healing energy that he provides. Um, Archangel Gabriel, I feel like I want to talk about though.
Okay.
Um, and it's amazing because, these angels don't have like a sex attached to them,
Yes. Yeah.
so people can feel them as female or masculine. And Archangel Gabriel, I feel
Mhm.
is a feminine most of the time. There has been a time um, that I did feel Archangel Gabriel is a male, but typically I feel her as a female. So you'll hear me refer to as her. So a
Yeah.
lot of times when I'm in like the throat chakra, I feel her start to come in. And I know that awfully well because that was one of the hardest parts for me was my throat chakra. Uh,
Same.
really, I just, man, I did everything I could to not stand up for myself, to not speak
Yeah.
my truth, to be so concerned with disappointing someone that I would just swallow my own thoughts and wishes
Hmm.
and all of that. And I think as females, um, we do probably do that a little more from my experience.
Yeah.
And um, so one of the biggest things that I started to notice, I did kind of my own healing journey for about 10 years. And some parts weren't so fun. Working on inner child stuff. And if you have not done any inner child stuff, to your listeners, like, I highly recommend it, because
Yeah.
when you are able to heal at least one little piece of that inner child, I feel like there's so much more that you open to and that
100%.
can work with you. Um, and I feel like every piece you heal there also allows your other chakras to open up more. Um, Archangel Gabriel had come to me in a meditation towards, I don't want to say towards the end of my healing journey, but towards like the height of my healing journey. We're continuously on a healing journey. Like, we don't get to a spot where we're like, nope, I don't have to work on anything ever again. I'm good.
Right. You're
I
healed.
was really like always thinking that in the background. I was like, okay, wait, okay, if I go ahead and heal this, I'm gonna be good. Like, I'm done. Whew, you know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff, but it doesn't have to be miserable the whole time, and you don't have to do it alone,
For sure.
right? Like, we don't have to do this alone. Like, they want
No.
to help us, and they want to be with us. So Archangel Gabriel came to me in a meditation, and I had been at a time where I was really, really struggling. And the angels had asked me in my meditation, they're like, what is the worst case scenario for you standing up for yourself? Of you just simply saying, I apologize, but I cannot help you today.
Yeah.
Just that. Like, they're gonna be okay. They
Mm.
may have to get someone else to help you, but that gives someone else an opportunity to be of service. And it gives you an opportunity to not be exhausted 24/7. And
Absolutely.
and that doesn't result in you're a bad person, right? Like,
Yeah.
so Archangel Gabriel came to me right after that, and she said, listen to me. I want you from now on, at any moment that you feel like you can't speak what your heart truly aligns with, I want you to call me in, and I want you to say, I need you now. I need you now. And I will come up behind you. I will come under. And she showed me like her coming under my shoulder blades and my back. And she
Oh.
said, I will hold you up when you feel like you can't hold yourself up.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And whew, like it's so incredibly powerful. Um, I still call her in all the time.
Same.
Um,
Yeah.
Things have gotten easier, so to speak. I'm definitely more confident in speaking my truth, um, and speaking up when and knowing that it's okay to say no sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and but so much of it has to do with her. Like just knowing that she is there for me, that she is um they're never going to not be there for you.
Yeah. And I think that's really comforting to know that you're never alone, even though, you might not have found your gifts yet, but just be like, all right, they're with me. I'll be honest, sometimes I don't feel them either. And I just say, help me with XYZ,
Mhm.
and that they'll show up one way or
Mhm.
another. Whether you feel it or get a sign or something just works out. Like for me in my real world job, um, if I never opened my throat chakra, I don't think I would be where I am today. I always say yes, and I will help you and this and this. And
Mhm.
even today, I told a couple of teachers, like, I'm sorry, I am swamped out.
Right.
You're gonna have to wait till tomorrow, and I will come back to you,
Mhm. Mhm.
you know?
Yeah, I admire people that are just automatically born with the no. I I can't
Yeah,
do it
that's
today. I'm
definitely
out of
not
capacity.
us.
Yeah, and I'm like, "Wow, how did you get there?"
Yeah, I think it's just like totally depends on their personality, but also I feel like it stems down from our past lives. Like definitely a people
Sure.
pleaser,
Yes.
and I'm slowly growing out of that shell, but there's still parts of me that's like, "Oh, really?" And then Gabriel always comes through, and she's like, "It's okay. It's gonna be okay." And if they're not okay, they'll end up being okay.
Right. Absolutely. It's amazing. I don't know, Archangel Michael a lot of times too. I know I had talked about him in the angel
Yeah.
membership yesterday, and I always feel him, and he's just like, I got your back. Like, I'm there. Like, I always tell
Mm.
people make sure you say now because their time is different than our time. I could say, "Hey, I need you," and I feel like they could be like, "Okay," and it could be like 15 years from now in our time.
Right.
But if I say I need you now, they're like, "Oh, now, got it," because their time is just different. And but he's always there to um, just offer his strength and the
Yes.
enormity of his strength. And I tell people too, just, if there's ever a moment you just, you're really feeling your inner child, or even as an adult, you're just feeling scared, whether
Yeah.
it be about life, it be about finances, it be about anything, you can ask him to hold you at any moment and just close your eyes and ask him to just envelope you. And he can just take that fear away. It's amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. Those two happen to be like one of my two forefronts of my spirit team. So I always either call upon individually or together.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael show up together a lot for me. Um, it's so amazing how everybody's spirit team, and then like when you're doing
Yeah.
clients, you're like, wait a minute, who's that? Like, I don't know that one.
Yeah.
You start to learn a new angel. There's so many angels, which I had no idea of initially. Like I was like, oh, what is there, like five or something? No, no,
No,
there's
there's a lot.
so many.
And I think it's our Catholic background. They, in the Catholic religion, they don't really talk about the angels. They talk about saints as a whole different entity. So
Mhm.
when I started getting into this, I'm like, what is this?
Mhm.
Um, and I remember telling my grandma, she's old school Catholic as well. And she goes, oh no, they're angels, but they're saints. So they're the same, because in the Catholic religion, they didn't call them angels, they call them saints. So
Oh, wow.
I thought that
My
was,
grandmother was a very strict Catholic too. Um, and and she luckily, I mean, I told her about energy healing
yeah.
stuff 20 years ago when I first started doing it. She was my best friend. She passed away, and my best friend that was similar to my age within
Mm,
a month of each other.
wow.
That was, but she never judged it. She was like,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely miracles can happen. Absolutely healings can take place. Um, and it was amazing. I know one of my sessions, St. Francis has come in too. And sometimes
Mm,
Mother Mary is there, and Mother Mary is very quick to tell me that she's not affiliated only with Catholics, that she
yeah.
doesn't have to be aligned with one specific religion. She wants to bring motherly love to everyone that wants it. And yeah, I think there's um, so many things for us to be grateful for. And it's such a blessing. The more you do this stuff that you're just
Yeah.
like, for real, like we have millions of people like rooting for us on the other side, like all the time.
Yeah. It's like a never-ending learning trip. And that's what
Yeah.
I love is that, you find something out new every day. You learn new angels, learn new ascended masters or saints or whatever you're uh, drawn to.
It's amazing. I had one of I think he's I think they call him a saint now. I'm not 100% sure, but I had met I don't know if you ever heard of Padre Pio. Um,
No.
I hadn't. And I was in a session and I kept hearing Padre Pio and I was like, why? I don't even know who that is. But it just
Mm.
kept repeating over and over and over. And then I heard a male voice say, I am here. And I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
oh. And I pictured him in like this like brown like robe with um like a what am I trying to think, around the waist, like a tie around the waist,
Yeah.
rope tie like thing around his waist, and he had these cloths around his hands. And I was doing this session on this gentleman, and I said, I don't know who this is. Like, you're probably gonna think I'm crazy, but I just keep hearing Padre Pio, and this is what he looks like. And he's like, you don't know who that is? And I'm like, am I supposed to know who that is? And so when we got done with the session, and his energy was so amazing and like, wow, healing and
Mm.
warm. And after the session, he said, you know what? He said, look on my dresser. He he lifted up this like doily thing, and underneath his dresser, he had these prayer cards, and it said
And he
Padre
was there.
Pio. It was Padre Pio, and I was like, that's the guy. That's the guy that
That's
was
the
in.
guy I saw.
Oh my gosh. And he's kind of been like part of my spirit team now, almost every
Amazing.
session. And he is provides so much love and support. And I believe he was like a priest in Italy.
Oh,
Um, and it's just fascinating to me that all of these different sessions we get to meet these amazing people that just want to provide love,
yeah.
you know? And I just want
Yeah.
everybody to know how much they're loved. Like, they have
Yeah.
no idea. They have no idea.
And you're so, so loved. But also, like, when you're starting to do this work, your spirit team seems very small, but as you grow, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Just like you were saying with Padre Pio, now he's on your spirit team.
Absolutely. It's phenomenal. Mother Teresa had started coming to my set. Like, And I have
Wow.
goosebumps every time I say her name. And she's always been, my grandma had probably like 15 books on her. And I remember when I was like 11, no, I guess I would have had to been older, 16 maybe. I bought a movie about her. I think it was even a VHS tape, if anybody knows what that is.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just admire that woman
Yeah.
so much, and her intentions, and just so much love. So much love.
Yeah. And that's a good point, is the intention is, you know, is a big key when you're trying to navigate your spiritual awakening, is your intention towards the angels or towards guides, however resonates with you. If you're making the purest intention, you're going to get the purest result.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's amazing. And you have to be open
Yeah.
to it, you know? I think for a while I really kind of struggled with, I'm like, oh, I want to feel you. Oh, wait, no, I don't want to feel you. Wait a
Yeah.
minute. Hang on. So once you let that guard down, and that knowing of there's no ill intent. Um there's nothing to be worried about, because they're just bringing love to you.
Absolutely. Are you feeling any more angels calling towards you?
Um Archangel Jophiel a little bit. I
Okay.
don't, have you worked with her very much?
I've started to.
Okay. I feel her kind of come in again. I feel her as a female.
Yeah, I
When
do too.
do you? Okay. When somebody is like, when somebody just hasn't let their hair down in a long time, like I use that even
Yes.
like when somebody really needs to be reminded, um, that it's okay to be silly. Sometimes it's okay to be childlike. Um, it's okay to participate in joy. I think
Mm-hmm.
in our busy lives, we get so used to just like go, 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 go. And we
Yeah.
really need a minute to be like, hey, it's okay for me to be crazy. It's okay for me to turn up
Yeah.
the music and dance, and have a great time and sing at the top of my lungs, and um dance like nobody's watching. Nobody cares about my moves. I'm all uncoordinated. They're going to be all right if they see me be uncoordinated. But she really invites you to take a moment and just be silly. She reminds me of a lady that I took care of for a little while, that actually had cancer, and she had breast cancer, and she was trying to get through her treatments to
Hmm.
do a more all natural approach, that she really wanted to get her life back together, um, and she was finishing up her chemo and radiation, and we really talked about the joy of like finding moments of joy, and she got to the point where when she would make like this fruit and veggie smoothie, I finally convinced her to do. Uh, and so she would turn on the blender, she'd get her smoothie ready, and we had calls over the phone, and she would turn up the music. And as soon as like the
Mm,
smoothie would get done, then that was her time that she had to like take a big
mm,
drink, and then she had to do this crazy dance and be silly, and she turned the song up super loud while I would be, on the phone with
yeah.
her. You're like, okay, we're about to dance, and both of us would end up laughing, um and at that moment, Archangel Jophiel is taking me back to that and letting me know that she was there, that she
That's
was there
amazing.
assisting and guiding her and providing her with the energy to dance and the energy to make her smoothie. And because she knew the value of joy, and dancing was what brought her the biggest joy. and Archangel Jophiel, sometimes she'll come in a session and she'll say, just ask the person, what is the first thing that comes to mind when they're like, what what are you doing when you feel the biggest smile come across your face? you know and some
Yeah.
people would be like, oh, looking at puppies, or
Mm-hmm.
oh, watching my kids play together, or eating a Snickers bar, because that is really good. um
Mm-hmm.
you know all kinds of things like that. And then Archangel Jophiel will be like, okay, I want you to go to that moment for a minute. I'm going to be there right with you. I'm going to have my hand in yours, and I want us to go to that moment of joy. I want you to think of that, and I want you to let me sit and hold your hand in that moment, and I want you to feel your heart get warm and
Mm.
know that I'm there with you, and that this moment of joy you take provides so much love to your
Yeah.
whole body, your organs, and it vibrates off of you and touches other people. So she's just awesome.
She is really awesome. I'll never forget. It was an angel membership live event. And they were like, all right, close your eyes and whoever is going to come through will come through. And I'm more clairaudient than anything else, so I don't see like people, I see like silhouettes or orbs. So keep that in
Okay.
mind.
Mhm.
And I saw this woman, brunette, very long hair, in a flower crown, and all I heard was Archangel Jophiel. And I said,
I feel that.
I was like, oh my gosh. 'Cause I normally don't see like what angels look like.
Wow.
And she was like, this is what I look like, and I am reminding you to be childlike because with the flower crown always reminds me of kids kind of running around being free. So when you said you
Oh.
see her letting her hair down, she showed me that image.
Oh
Like,
my gosh,
remember,
I
this is
have
what I look
goosebumps
like.
everywhere. Oh my gosh. And when the way you're describing it, like I can almost see her holding hands and just going around in a circle, and everybody's got their
Yeah,
flower, and I just like have oh my gosh, I literally have
I know,
goosebumps
I do too.
everywhere, everywhere. Um, oh, that's so awesome. I oftentimes will say like I see somebody too, but very rarely do I like visually see. Like I'll see them in my mind's eye, or like,
Yeah.
you know, I think I feel the way they look more than actually
Mm.
see. But yeah, it's those moments of joy. I'm so thankful for that angel membership. Since we meet like every Wednesday, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's just like my pep me up drink. I'm like, yay, it's
I
Wednesday.
know, right?
We get to see like people that also like love, and that they like happiness, and they like connection, and angels, and um energy, and it's so great. So,
Yeah.
okay, Archangel Ariel just popped in too.
Ooh.
So, she just wants to remind us that in our moments of joy, to remember how simple it can be to have that moment of joy. And
Mm.
she brings us to nature,
Yeah.
and knowing that simply stepping in nature, simply stepping in grass barefoot,
Yep.
simply walking out and watching the birds, um, the butterflies. That's something
Yeah.
here lately for the last 5 days. Whether I go out my back door or my front door, I see butterflies. I don't remember ever seeing butterflies in my house. I mean, I'm like, okay, all right, I'm picking up what you're throwing down. I guess I need to look into the butterfly energy a little bit. Um, but that really is true. I mean,
For
just
sure.
stand up like early morning and like hear a bird chirp, and just look at
Yeah.
around it, like how nature has created. And those of you that are near water or forests or mountains, I mean, all of those majestic things that um, that nature provides us can can bring us joy and bring us a calming effect. So Archangel Ariel says, please feel free to call on me anytime you're out in the energy.
Yeah, that's beautiful. She reminds me a lot to go outside and sit. Sometimes she'll be like, just stick your hands in the dirt. And I'm like, but I don't want to get my hands dirty. And she's like, just do it. And I'm like,
Right,
okay. Not in
right,
like a mean tone, but she's like, she's
right.
just gonna be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, or go barefoot in the grass. I'm
Yeah.
not like I don't love to be barefoot, but she's like, just go. You'll 5 seconds. You'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
When you think about gardening, like
yeah,
some people that, love to garden, like I love to plant, like I plant tomato plants and cucumber plants. And um, I'm not able to grow a lot more, hasn't cooperated, but the whole planting part of it and like digging in the dirt, and
yeah,
I find myself like so calm with that. And I mean, it's just amazing, like the energy of the earth, how therapeutic that can be for you.
yeah.
It's
And
it's awesome.
it's like in the oneness meditation where we say, you're sticking your roots into the ground. Sometimes I will only go that far. I'll just be like, all right, I'm going to stick my roots into the ground. And that's just like grounding or calming enough to be like, okay, I got this.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I know, I feel like sometimes, yeah, Archangel Ariel will tell me to, like, if I'm getting all up in my head about something, anxious about, I don't know if I'm gonna make this deadline for this or da
Yeah,
da 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 da. And I feel like she just like very gently puts her hand on my shoulder and she's like, well, you're not being very productive right now while you're just spinning. So if you can take a minute,
yeah.
walk outside, 3 minutes tops, just put your feet on the ground, lean against a tree. And I'm like, I don't want, no, I got to make this, da, 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 and she's like, if you could just go outside, they're very patient with us.
They're
But,
so patient.
but once I do it, it does like, and then I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. And she'll kind of give me this image. Like, I don't know if you ever remember, if you saw the commercial, the Energizer Bunny a long
Yeah,
time ago that would go back. Yeah. She shows
yeah,
me the picture of that and she's like, that's what you were doing. And I just need to take the battery out for a second.
yeah. Like the other day, I was just like, um, I'm gonna, I have the ability to like work from home sometimes. So like
Mhm.
just take the afternoon and go work from home. And I was like, but I don't like want to work inside. She's like, why can't you take your laptop and sit outside? So that's what I did for like 3 hours. I was just like, do, do, do,
Awesome.
do. And I was like, this feels nice. She's like,
Yeah.
doesn't it feel nice? And I was like, yeah, you're
Right.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes we have to be reminded that maybe it's okay to listen to someone else for a minute. Take
Yeah.
their guidance. Yep.
And they're so patient and they'll keep trying, which I think is very comforting as well.
Yes.
Especially if you're, not following the breadcrumbs or you're very brand new. Like, I've always heard from my spirit team, like, you didn't take that opportunity, that's okay. Another one's going to be coming around the corner,
Mhm.
you know.
Absolutely. Yep. It's it's amazing. I'm so grateful. So grateful.
Oh gosh, I feel like I could talk for hours on angels.
I
Oh,
know. It's crazy, but
yeah,
it's been great. I'm so grateful that we're aware of all of them, and
yeah,
my biggest hope is that everybody gets to find out about how many angels are around them. It's
yeah,
oh, I want everybody to feel it.
yeah. Feel it however resonates with you, whether that's, you
Mhm.
know, seeing an energy healer, Reiki, walking meditations. I mean, there's so many healing modalities out there. And that's why I started
Absolutely.
this podcast is to like make people aware of the different healing modalities that are there. I don't even know them all, and I'm learning exactly with everybody else.
Yes.
So,
There are so many, and it's okay to do self-care sometimes
Yeah.
and be the person receiving. That's definitely something that they've taught me as well along this journey. My spirit team has been
Yeah.
like, okay, so it's okay for you to receive too, you
Yeah.
know?
I mean, it was like the session that I did with you a few weeks ago. They were like, just do it with her. You're gonna feel great.
No, it was so great. They were just millions of angels wanting to get next to you. They're like, no, tell her I'm here. Tell her I'm here. It
I know, I know.
was
So,
awesome.
Justina, where can people find you?
So if they go on theangelmedium.com, which is Julie Jancius's website, and they go under readings, I believe it's under there, and they can scroll down to my name and my picture, and there's a booking link there. And if they join the angel membership, since I'm on her team of healers, one of the events a month, I do a gallery reading with another amazing healer named Autumn. And then there's several other things that take place on Wednesdays. There's prayer group and um, all kinds of healing modalities. And the angel membership, she has like past workshops on there that you
Yeah.
can go to, different healings, learning how to connect better with your angels, your intuition. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah. And I love that you can like go back. Like, I've been in this membership like 3 years coming up,
Mm-hmm.
and I still haven't finished like a year with your angels yet. But
Yet,
it's
there's
still
so
there. So I
many
can
different
like
things. Right. Mm-hmm.
so I'm like doing some of the current stuff and some of the older stuff. And then sometimes if I have like a long span of time, I'll do her healing or her workshop.
Right.
So that's kind of nice that like even though you missed out, you know, it's so self-paced.
It is. It's amazing. And you could do it, at any time. If you work night shift and you're off a night shift at 3 o'clock in the morning, you want to log in and, do a
Yeah.
healing or listen to a workshop. And she's got the in-person retreat coming up in October, that first week in October in
Yeah.
Chicago. I'm so excited. I'm so going to that.
I
Um,
wish I could go.
I know.
I'll
Oh
have
my
to
goodness.
text you.
You will for sure. Yes. Next one you'll be able to go to for sure. It'll be amazing. I'm so excited. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Justina, for being on the podcast, for being on this August
Welcome.
Archangel series.
Thank you for inviting me. Oh my goodness. You're doing amazing. I love your podcasts. They're so great and so informative. So I appreciate this opportunity.
Oh, thank you so much. As always, friends, we will see you on Monday. Have a blessed day.